Hello everyone! So happy you are here for our half-hour journey through the pages of Jamaica Magazine. Welcome on board this informative trip. I'm Theodore Henry. First up, we'll be stopping for our usual COVID-19 update as we continue to share the information that you need to know about the pandemic. Plus, we'll explore how the country continues to tackle the risks of COVID-19 to restore normality to the lives of our people and the economy. Sit back, relax, for these and other interesting features that you don't want to miss.
Under the Disaster Risk Management Act, gatherings in any public access place shall not exceed 10 persons.
Our new reality is being pierced by a novel virus, COVID-19, lingering in our homes, offices, and streets, jabbing its fingers into our country's coffers, and playing front page on newspapers and lead stories whenever you stop for a watch. On March 10, there was one, and from one to two, to few, then to many. The not so simple truth is that the virus has spread. There are cases without a trace, so much so that here in Jamaica, we're now paying keen attention to the topic of community transmission or spread. As it relates to COVID-19, community transmission or community spread means the source of the infection is unknown. So someone has become infected with the virus, but health officials are not sure where or how that person was infected.
So the plan has always been to use restrictions to minimize, in the first instance, imported cases, to contain through contact tracing, through quarantining and isolation, the threat that may present itself in terms of potential cases, and to use that time to enhance the public health infrastructure in order to deal with what would have been an inevitable scenario given the nature of this virus, where it becomes more widespread across the country in terms of people picking up the virus from others and not even knowing that they have it because they may be asymptomatic and not knowing where it has come from, as is the case with earlier cases where we have a travel history that's linked to the virus. That phase is called community transmission or community spread.
Within this outbreak, there are 4 different phases. So there's no cases. We changed from no cases to what is called sporadic cases, just a few cases, which are likely to be imported cases. And then we have clusters of cases. That's where we have persons who are linked to each other. So you got the infection from a known person, and that is cluster. So they're probably in a geographic area together, or they went to an event together. The next phase is called community transmission. This is when there's large number of cases that are not linkable to other cases. And there will be multiple unrelated clusters.
So now that we understand community transmission, here's how it's getting a little more personal for us as Jamaicans.
It is expected, it is understood that it will happen. It is the way the virus works, and that is the case in all countries. So when you hear us say we have cases under investigation, which sometimes we put in the releases, it means that some cases don't have an immediate and obvious connection with an original person who traveled in.
We have to look at what we're seeing now. We are seeing more and more cases that are coming up without links. So it is telling us that we are having more and more local transmission of cases, and the numbers are getting larger and larger. So there is obviously a signal going out to all of us what we're dealing with.
The issue of community transmission is one that we think needs to be ventilated and to hopefully generate greater levels of sensitivity and understanding by the general population. Community spread could mean patients who are not as ill to require hospital care and therefore would have to be staying at home and isolating in order to get well.
Practice social distancing. If you're in public, stand 6 feet away from the persons around you. Avoid public spaces or crowded areas. Stay home. If it's absolutely necessary that you go out, wear a mask. Always wash your hands with soap and water. And if you can't, use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer until you get access to soap and water.
But if we don't manage the virus, then it could spread too fast, too quickly, and could be a real challenge for public health to respond. So that terminology of managed spread is something that Jamaicans are going to have to eventually adopt, recognize, and understand. And that's the community spread phase that the efforts of public health have to be working on.
Our senior citizens are within the high-risk category of persons who are more likely to suffer severe illness from contracting COVID-19. The government has therefore put in place special measures to protect this section of the population. Take a look.
The late South African leader Nelson Mandela once said, "A society that does not value its older people denies its roots and endangers its future. Let us strive to enhance their capacity to support themselves for as long as possible, and when they cannot do so anymore, to care for them." It's a message with renewed significance in this COVID-19 fight. Adults 60 years and older are listed among the most vulnerable to be impacted severely by the novel coronavirus. Protecting them requires deliberate action. The Jamaican government, through the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development, has taken lead on this by providing access to medical care, food, and sanitation supplies.
All persons 75 years and older must stay at home. The established studies that have been done around it suggest that the susceptible group, the group that is most affected in a critical way, are our seniors, 65 years and above. They will be allowed to conduct the essentials of life, but under certain restrictions. This is not isolating them, locking them off. This is a little bit of social distancing, but it is not social isolation. All right? Still call them on the phone, go and look for them, carry food, make sure they're all right, keep engaging them. But remember that if you are young and healthy and you get the disease, the probability of you recovering is far greater than the probability of your grandparent or even your parent. And you may not even show symptoms. You may have a slight cold, as I say, and you recover, but you are transmitting. You are still carrying the disease, and you go and you hug up grandma, and poor grandma gets sick, and it was all because of you.
While government implements that policy to keep older adults at home, it is making sure their needs are not neglected. So the local government ministry has set up the Rona Helpline Senior Care Response Initiative. It is designed to aid senior citizens over the age of 70 years old who are in critical need. The ministry is executing the program through the Social Development Commission. The Rona Helpline Senior Care Response Initiative works by establishing contact points for senior citizens. Seniors may call in to the contact points requesting assistance to complete critical services they may need while being indoors. Concierge services being done on behalf of the seniors include filling prescriptions, grocery shopping, and transportation to health facilities for urgent care. The transportation and logistics costs for the critical supplies are free to the seniors. They pay for the cost of the groceries or medications, but not to have it delivered to their doorsteps. There are 16 contact point offices island-wide. The main one is headquartered at the local government ministry, while the other 15 locations are SDC parish offices. These contact points manage and coordinate the island-wide response to the elderly population. Seniors may call in to the contact points with their specific needs from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Mondays to Fridays. Officers and volunteers will screen calls to ensure the validity of the requests. The SDC's officers will then mobilize to fulfill the urgent needs of the seniors. In addition, if necessary and based on the assistance required, reliable individuals are dispatched to the home of the elderly person to provide the specific support requested. Beating COVID-19 by providing a senior care response is a priority for the Jamaican government. If you are a senior citizen and you are in need of such assistance, call the RONA helpline at 876-618-8218, 876-879-8948, or 876-879-8950. You may also call the SDC's parish office in your area. If you did not catch the number for your parish, the contact points numbers are listed on the social media pages of the local government ministry and the SDC.
The experience of the COVID-19 pandemic teaches that now more than ever, the fourth industrial revolution is unfolding, where communications technology is changing our entire way of life. The next stop on our journey through Jamaica Magazine will look at this as we share excerpts from a Ministry of Labour and Social Security workshop held before the COVID-19 pandemic.
Good to be here today to welcome and to join with the youth, all of you, everyone here today at this Youth and National Forum to discuss and share ideas under the theme Future of Work, Realizing Productivity Growth. Today's forum is very timely as many of our youths are making preparation to transition into the changing world of work. I believe that a forum like this affords us the opportunity of identifying the challenges that are expected to arise from this new wave of technological advancement known as the fourth industrial revolution. But there are also opportunities as well.
I wish to implore on you as youths that you have a significant role to play in our drive to enhance productivity. We appreciate that the talent of the future lies in you. As a government, it is our responsibility to lay the foundation which will enable you not only to achieve your goals, but also to prepare you in taking your rightful place within society. Our young people remain on the cutting edge of technology, and it is prime time to maximize and monetize these opportunities.
Welcome to the fourth industrial revolution, Right now, if you go into courts, you can buy a smart fridge. Why do you need to connect your fridge to your mobile device? What is it that you need to tell your fridge to do? Lower the temperature, thaw your chicken. There are so many things that are awaiting us in this fourth industrial revolution. When you think about 3D printing, right now sneakers are being printed, mass production, because nobody needs to assemble these materials. Click of a button, it's done. When you think about big data analytics, we're all connected. Right now, there are companies here in Jamaica that knows exactly where we are, what we're doing, and what our demographic is. I kid you not, I work with them. A lot of the times we are connected online, but we're just consuming. The only way to earn is to create. What will you learn to create? You can do work for individuals in Europe, in America, just by sitting at home around your computer, utilizing your skill set. And with that, I'll just leave you with a few pointers. Right now, it's less brawn, it's more brains. Always observe the patterns. That's how you'll be able to position yourself at the forefront of the industry. The industry, we're still in the early stages. It's going to get a lot more aggressive because remember the pattern, 100 years. And change is constant.
It's very important that when we're thinking about how we position ourselves in this new world, that we're helping to solve industrial problems, that we're not necessarily just going with the trends, but we're also helping to solve real problems that people are having on the ground.
In Jamaica, we noticed that artificial intelligence is in existence, it's taking over, it's in the banking system, manufacturing, tourism, and so forth, right? We noticed that through the increased use of technology, it is creating a number of job opportunities in a number of sectors, namely BPO sector, animation, and cybersecurity systems. Some of the occupations that are in demand are coming on stream. Data scientists, automobile engineers, project officers, robotics automation developers, and to the right you have some of the skills that are needed: robot programming, factory automation, electronics, graphic designing. In terms of animation, Jamaica is gaining a lot of traction within the animation industry because of our increased use of technology, because of our creative skills that exist here in Jamaica, right? So what is happening is that a lot of films are being sent to Jamaica to be further developed and sent back to the US. And as a result, it is creating a number of job opportunities in several areas. For example, animators, graphic and web designers. So these are good areas for persons to get into.
85% of the jobs that will exist in 2030 don't exist as yet. AI is what is changing this workforce. AI is many things. AI, even robotics falls under AI. There is some, a word like machine learning that you may have learnt about. There is problem solving, which AI focuses on. Like if you're trying to go from here to Hong Kong, do you want a route? Do you want the cheapest route in terms of dollar? Do you want a airline route in terms of minimum number of stops? Or do you want a route which takes you in the shortest amount of time? So which one do you want? And how does it find you the best solution? All these are some of typical AI problems until it has been consumed by the world of data. And with this data, what has happened is that we now have machine learning coming into play. Even machine learning has existed in computer science for a long time. But what has happened is, and the tech companies are also at fault, they tend to use AI and machine learning interchangeably. So what is AI? AI is a program that can sense, reason, act, and adapt. So it is doing what, showing some kind of intelligence by acting and adapting in the environment that it exists. Then we have machine learning, which is doing similar things, but when it's making actions and when it's doing some kind of behavior, it is based on data. We have all this data. Without analytics, this big data that we are looking at is just nothing but a heap of garbage. We need to really make sense of that data. How do we make sense of that data? We make sense of that data with the machine learning algorithms, and many people call it analytics. You're doing something with the data. So we have to be mindful. As the data is increasing, the information can decrease if we don't do something with this data.
Water is precious. So we encourage everyone to practice the 4 R's of water conservation. Always remember to reduce your use of water wherever possible. Replace water wasting devices with water savings devices. Reuse water wherever possible. And wherever leaks are found, please repair them and repair them quickly.
Don't delay. Practice the 4 R's of water conservation today.
May is Hurricane Preparedness Month, a fitting time to begin preparing for the above-normal hurricane season that is projected for June 1 to November 30. It is predicted that the 2020 hurricane activity will be about 140% of the average season, so it's wise to be informed and make preparation to minimize any negative impact.
Well, the whole business of weather prediction and weather forecasting is really a complex business. So what the Meteorological Service does, along with many other meteorological services right across the globe, is that we do regular observations of the weather. It starts first of all by assessing what the current weather conditions are. We try to find out how much rainfall is being detected at that point in time. We are assessing wind speed or wind direction, and the atmospheric pressure is detected. The temperature is also sensed, as well as the humidity at any location. We have the automatic weather stations, and we have over 80 of them right across the 14 parishes. Apart from these instruments, we have visual observations that are done by meteorological technicians, and they do observations of the cloud cover, the wind conditions. They view the visibility, how far they can see in the distance. There are many parameters that are measured just by using the senses. We have our Doppler radar. It shows us where across the country rainfall is actually occurring at any point in time. We also sense what is happening in the atmosphere above the ground. So this is where our weather balloon comes into play, because that weather balloon is released twice every day in Jamaica to assess the atmosphere using a bit of equipment that is attached to that balloon. There are also like buoys that are in the ocean. They are sensing weather conditions. We have some ships that are equipped with stations that bring in information. There are pilots that send in information via aircraft. Then what we do with that information afterwards is that all of it goes into numerical weather prediction models. It gets crunched by a supercomputer. It sends back now some model data that tells us what is expected to occur. But of course, we don't rely entirely on the technology, because the experience of our forecasters is also important. We then have to sit down and assess what is really happening to the atmosphere. Using the local knowledge, using our understanding of the topography of the island, where the hills are located, where we're likely to get the land breezes and the sea breezes. All these things we have to take into consideration when we come up with a forecast for any specific point in Jamaica. It is a complex process, but that is how we in the Met Service actually forecast our weather conditions.
Everybody know about COVID-19. Keep socially distance and your proper hygiene. Wash your hands then clean. Don't discriminate, cause it might be. It very well could be somebody will look like you or look like me. Listen. We're in this together. Yeah. We all got to work with each other. Yeah. Look out for our friends and our neighbor. And if you feel sick, don't be be afraid to call the doctor. Red Cross volunteers from across the Caribbean, working hard to fight discrimination. So if a person should feel ill, then they will contact the authorities without hesitation. The most vulnerable are the elderly, but the truth is it can infect anybody. So what we need is solidarity, everyone helping everyone like a family. So this is a message to the nation. Make sure you seek out the right information from official sources like the Ministry of Health, Red Cross and the World Health Organization. Everybody know about COVID-19. Keep socially distance and your proper hygiene. Wash your hands then clean. Don't discriminate cause it might be, it very well could be, somebody will look like you or look like me. Listening. People around the world facing this pandemic. Coronavirus have the whole world a panic. Now is not the time to be fearful, but to be careful, supportive and empathetic. This is the state of the society. Some people full of fear and anxiety. Yo, a lot of fake news in the community, but what we need now is more love and unity. So this is a message to the nation. Make sure you seek out the right information from official sources like the Ministry of Health, Red Cross and the World Health Organization. Everybody know about COVID-19. Keep socially distance and your proper hygiene. Wash your hands then clean. Don't discriminate cause it might be, it very well could be, somebody will look like you or look like me. Listening. We're in this together. We all got to work with each other. Look out for our friends and our neighbor. And if you feel sick, don't be afraid to call the doctor.
This is where we end our half-hour journey. Be sure to join us again tomorrow for another informative edition of Jamaica Magazine. Until then, continue to watch these and other programs by logging on to our website at www.jis.gov.jm or subscribing to our YouTube channel. You may also find us on all the major social media platforms and through our mobile app that's Android and iOS compatible. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Theodore Henry, urging you to take care and practice proper hygiene and social distancing as we strive to prevent the spread of COVID-19.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.